when we finish, that we will be in harmony with our decision. We ask your continued blessing on this county. This is my prayer. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. The reason we're here this afternoon is that we've had several townships within the county that have requested some services from our recreation department. So we're here to discuss those requests. And Andy, put your real name, Andy.
Paul Andrew Howard.
Excuse me. I'm just gonna say Mr. Howard is here because I know it's not Andy. Is here to inform us so we can pass on whatever we need to pass on to the full council. So, thank you.
Well, obviously you all know I've been approached by a couple townships about their struggles with maintaining their parks, Waterloo in particular and Hickory Tavern. Both parks are good parks for their community. They do a service to the citizens in that area. And it's not something new that we've been asked to do. We did it with Hickory Tavern in the past. Council just a couple of years ago decided to end that partnership. And I'll tell you the history on it, and this is from my digging in and finding before my time. Lawrence County had a parks master plan, and our goal was to have one central park, which was the county park on Calvin Bridges Road, and then parks in all the outlying areas in the county so that we would service citizens. Well, at the time, Hickory Tavern had a park already, and it didn't make sense to duplicate services. So the county, in an effort to help Hickory Tavern Youth Recreation Association, went into partnership with them and did a lease agreement. What that does is it allows the county to receive grant funds for that park. But with that, it also, you have to be in control of that park. So you have to make sure that it's available to the public at all times. It can't be a group of 10 people saying this is our park, nobody else can get in it. It's open to every citizen in the county that way. Well, and there were issues, and you see some of these letters that are here. There were times when they would shut it down to the citizens because they might have had some vandalism or some graffiti, which is obviously understood. I mean, you don't want people tearing things up, but you still got to leave it open for the public during normal operating hours. So those things were hammered out, they were handled. And at that time, Hickory Tavern Youth Recreation Association was a very busy, bustling system. I mean, they ran Little League, they ran soccer programs because there was nothing else offered in Lawrence County other than Dixie Youth, and that was really focused in the Clinton area. Well, now the city of Lawrence has Little League, the city of Clinton has Dixie Youth, the YMCA Lawrence, all offering the same programs. So it's hard for Hickory Tavern to even compete or even offer that service because it's already offered somewhere else. So with that being said, they were happy to take it back and completely do it all on their own because they had the understanding, the reasoning that they thought that they could make it without the assistance of the county. Well, what they didn't realize, just us paying the utilities kept them afloat. The utilities ran anywhere from $200 to $250 a month without even turning a light on. And once you turn the lights on, it jumped to $500 a month because it's a 3-phase power. Duke charges a premium for that, so it's automatically going to be $200 or something. But once you turn it on, it becomes a peak charge, and then it costs double that. And they might come out there and turn it on for 10 minutes and then turn around and leave and turn the lights off. But it still jumped the price up double when they did that. So it was, they understood it real quick. They quit turning the lights on. So, and now they're at the point now where they can't afford to keep it and actually provide the services because they don't have the participation in the sports that they used to have way back in the day. Well, since then, with the Reedy River oil spill, we actually received $3 million, and that $3 million was used to purchase land on the Reedy River. We built 2 parks on the Reedy River, and DNR purchased 1,000 acres of property on Reedy River. So in actuality, Lawrence County has over 1,000 acres of recreational opportunities in Hickory Tavern area. within 2 miles from that one park. So it would not be following Parks Master Plan to have a recreational area there, because we already have 2, and then Hickory Tavern has one as well. So the reason why the money was spent on Rudy River is because that's what it was mandated that it had to be spent on. So we've got 86 acres at one park, and the other park's about 20 acres. So there's 100 acres that we could, build on. We could do more on if we wanted to. But as of this point, I don't see a need in us building athletic fields out there. Hickory Tavern has athletic fields. I just don't see them getting used like they want them to be used, because people come to Lawrence to do that. It's not that hard of a commute anymore. So in my opinion, I would say the only way that we could properly manage that property is if it was deeded to the county, and we can make renovations, and we can make repairs as needed. Because if we run into a lease agreement like before, they still owned all of the property, and we couldn't, I'm not gonna say legally because I don't know, but we couldn't legitimately spend money on something that don't belong to us, in my opinion. And that's what we ran into, was like, needed a roof. Well, we can't fix it. Y'all have to fix it. It's your building. The shelters are falling apart. This is unsafe. You've got to fix it. It's hard for us to make them fix it. So we have no legally binding reason that we have to do a lease agreement with them. It would really be just to help that area out. And I think the only logical way it could be done is if you could get them to say, all right, take it. And then we could make it a county park in what it is. We can still leave the fields there. We can still leave it like it is. And our maintenance cost on that's going to be $6,000 to $10,000 a year. And that's not including another employee. And not to say that it'll be out of the way, because we got 2 parks up there as it is. It's just, that's the nature of labor and utilities, fuel costs, things like that. So that's my recommendation on Hickory Tavern. Waterloo, pretty much the same situation. We've never been in an agreement with them. The difference with Waterloo is Waterloo does not have parks that close to it. There's not a lot of opportunity in Waterloo. It's a very downtrodden area, and it's used a lot. And they've done what they can with the small amount of base that they receive as far as funds go. And they do receive grant money. And those grant funds they've put in recently 4 sets of swing sets and a sliding board. They've got some picnic tables there. And it's open to the public all the time. You can go out there anytime, swing on it, play on it. But there's a maintenance cost in those. I mean, swing sets just alone, you're going to spend minimum $2,000 to $3,000 in playground surfacing under swing sets, because it takes such a wide area. Because you have to do, if it's 10 feet tall, you got to go 20 feet out this way and 20 feet out this way and fill it all in with mulch. And it's got to be 12 inches thick. So, and that's just for safety reasons. And that's how we keep our standards in our parks. But with that being said, there's no way they could afford to do that. Right now, I think they currently contract somebody to cut the grass because they don't have staff or anything other than council. So really for us, it would be taking on the upkeep of the playgrounds. And we're going to be putting more playground out there with the capital sales tax, and a picnic shelter out there to go along with it. So that would be more that they're going to be responsible for, and we'll have to be responsible for. But when they see, I mean, they're just as excited as everybody else when you say, look, we're going to do something at your park. Yeah, bring it on. But then they don't think about the long-term cost. So, and then when they started thinking about long-term cost, the first time they had to buy mulch for the swing sets, they were like, that's too expensive. We can't do that. I'm like, that's what you got to do. You got to keep it up. So, but that's where that is. I mean, as of right now, it's really just cutting grass for us. It's not that big of an area. It wouldn't take that long. But long term, I mean, it's going to take more time, more labor. And we go by there every time we go to the fishing pier, and we go by there sometimes when we're crossing from Thomas Shoals over to Cross Hill Park, where we do have a park. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere comparatively to our other parks, but it is a park that's used, and I'm gonna leave that up completely to y'all. So I mean, if it was me, And I would take care of every park I could, you know, because I want to see them nice and I want to see people be able to play. But it will mean more cost to the county because I'm going to have at least another person to do that. And that's the two that we've been approached. Gray Court has also mentioned something in the past. And it was just several council members, not necessarily, it was not voted on. It was not brought to their council as a meeting. They was like, we can't take care of this place. And what would be the process? I said, well, you would have to go through your council and get your council to ask the county council and find out the ins and outs. But Gray Court Park is a big park and it's a lot of work. So that would take a lot more labor and it would take a lot more money because it's nowhere near the finish line.
When you say you would need an extra person to do some of this, like you mean like an actual, another paid staff?
Another paid staff member, yes, sir. And with that comes another lawnmower, possibly another truck. I mean, so all that has to weigh into your decision. Or are they willing to help pay for those things? You know, is that something that we want to get into, basically farming out us to go cut grass? I mean, because you got to realize I've got two full-time employees, and one of them, I'm actually hiring one he starts Monday, so I'll have two. And I've got some part-time help. I've got a part-time budget that I pull in for big projects and for the summertime season where we cut grass. So, and we also use inmate labor. So that does help tremendously. But there are times when we're without inmate help. We're at the discretion of the South Carolina jail system, you know, because we use state inmates. We don't use county inmates. They come and go too fast. You can't use them for that type of work because you don't know. I mean, they're probably only going to be in the county for 3 months. The state inmates are going to be there for 3-4 years. So we can train them, we can trust them, and we can be with them, you know, without, you know, fear of them trying to do something wrong. But so far, that's worked out great for us, is working with those inmates. So, but that's where I stand on them. My opinion is the only way we could, in my opinion, ethically take them on is if we do it. I mean, I think as soon as we do one, a lot more are going to ask. So.
And I know I talked to you about this before, but looking at maybe partnering with like Zia Transmissions, I know the county's done that in the past with them. Because I know Hickory Tavern Park, Hickory Tavern, we have a lot of people out there that work for Zia. So I'd like to see us maybe go down that route instead of burdening the county.
I understand.
We can find a way to work with some, you know, Zia, and there's a couple other large businesses I think as well that could make the jump. Because if we're only talking an annual $6,000 a year just for the utilities.
It's not bad.
And the Hickory Tavern Park too, I mean, it's not even ADA compliant.
No, and a lot of parks are not. And you got to realize that you have to make recreational areas as ADA compliant as you can. Because the playground is going to be as ADA compliant as you can make it without spending a fortune, because you can do the Disney World type surfacing where it's hard surface with rubber. That costs a lot of money. And that being known, they do allow you to use mulch. So that's still considered ADA compliant. It's just not feasible for a wheelchair to go across. So, I mean, and obviously bathrooms, shelters, all that stuff has to be ADA compliant so they can wheel themselves up to a table, buy the right tables, things like that. So those are all, and I mean, trash. I mean, people don't realize trash. I mean, this time of year, we pick up so much trash. It's unheard of. Every day we're picking up trash at different parks. And every Friday we have to make a round around all the parks to pick up trash so they're ready for the weekend. And then again on Monday, we're back around all the parks to pick up trash. So that takes a lot of time. It's 4 hours to run the loop around the county. I mean, we got a big county. And so that's something else that you guys need to consider.
But looking at the parks, they are all different.
Yeah.
And I think we have to address them differently.
Mhm.
Now, as far as and so these are the requests that have been put before us. I know of Waterloo and Hickory Tavern. Those are the only two that have been brought to our attention. I know Gray Court is, they have on the Capitol, once that sales tax, they're gonna be doing a whole lot, but that property was given to them
By the
long
Culvers.
time ago, yeah, to, for a recreational park, and they started trying to do some things there. So I think what would be best if we address, each one of these, parks in the way that we can help them out.
Okay.
And looking, since you started off with Hickory Tavern, and that it is not, county owned, it's not county operated, and that it is a private,
Organization.
park.
Mhm.
And I really don't feel like we should be obligated, now this is my opinion too, along with you, I don't feel like we need to do any obligation to a private park. If it's county, and I think it's not that they're not having it, but, if it's county, I think we can help them out. But if it's private, I don't feel like we need to do that, because as soon as we do something out there, they can turn around and say, well, the county came in here and did this.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that we did. And, I listened at the, other participant in the committee to get their opinion really just on our Hickory Tavern.
Did you say that at Hickory Tavern, DNR and whatnot has created a lot of other recreational opportunities for people?
Yes, sir, they did. DNR, has put in wildlife management area over 1,000 acres. We personally, the county, have put in 2 parks on the Reedy River as well. So we actually have 2 county parks within a mile from the Hickory Tavern Park. So there's opportunities for recreation. However, it's not the same type of recreation. Hickory Tavern affords, ball fields, baseball and soccer. Lawrence County parks, we provide walking trails, fishing, kayaking, and playgrounds, and picnic shelters. But Hickory Tavern doesn't really supply those needs. So we kind of meet all the needs together, but not individually. And could we build ball fields out there? Yes, we could. Do I think we should? Absolutely not. I mean, it's not feasible in that area because it's so far outside of the county. I mean, it's so far off the side.
Well, if we abandon the Hickory Tavern Park, is that going?
We're not abandoning it because it's not our park, it's a private park.
Okay.
You have to talk a little bit louder.
Yeah, I understand.
Hearing aid at home.
I got you. Well, the thing with Hickory Tavern Park is a 501c3. Their managing authority is a nonprofit organization that makes money out there. They do things to make money, to keep their park alive. And they've done a good job of keeping it alive. However, the county has helped them for about 20 years, with exception of the last 2 years. We stopped that agreement. And since we've stopped that agreement, they felt the hardship of the basic fund. I mean, the basic cost of landscaping and utilities. And they can't afford to do that with the money that they make in their small leagues that they have, soccer and t-ball. So that's my issue with that one. Is it's a 501c3. It's privately owned. And if we do it for them, then we're going to be asked to do it for every 501c3 without.
You legally can't.
Yeah. And
It's a private organization, you can't put public funds.
yeah. And the only way, like I said earlier, I don't know if this is true, the only way we could legally do that would be for them to hand over the property to us,
And I
and then
would
we
use
do
that
it.
as an example. If you remember how we did the fire bond. We could not spend tax money on individually owned fire stations. So we asked them, in order to get the repairs done, deed the property to us. We've had that discussion with Hickory Tavern before, and it didn't get very far. But a private organization like a ZF or some other company, like Mr. Rankin was talking about, they can come in and be a sponsor, spend whatever money they want to. County can't do it unless we've got control and ownership.
So I would, for Hickory Tavern, I will, Carla Messer,
Mhm.
she's the president, I will sit with her and we can talk and come up with a game plan to reach out to some of these other corporations, see if we can get some help for them. I think it's very doable. I
Okay,
mean, 6,000 a year is,
it's not bad.
that's just a drop of bucket for CF.
That's right.
So we'll reach out to them.
And so, as far as Hickory Tavern is concerned, we are not, fulfilling their request due to the fact that there's a 501(c) and we are a public,
Publicly funded.
entity, and we can't provide public funds for private organizations. So is that, okay, is that the way y'all reading it? That's the way you reading it?
Now, the only question I have is, I know they had approached me about the lease agreement that we used to have. Is that technically a legal option where we lease the property for them for like, what, $1 or
The
something?
leasing background on that, I think Andy probably can remember, that had to do with getting a park grant,
That's correct.
which you have to have a 20-year lease in order to do that. And once that, there are no more grants available right now under that type of program. We looked at that probably 2 or 3 years ago when that one ran out, but just to go in and supplement, say, the light bill or something like that, it kind of fell outside of the needs or the ability of the county to do it.
Okay.
The issue with Waterloo would be that is an incorporated municipality, so you can enter into an interlocal governmental agreement with them for whatever dollars and cents that may be necessary. So that would be appropriate because that is government to government.
So the kids, they got somewhere to play ball.
Absolutely.
They can go somewhere and play. And it sounds like maybe there's a lot of opportunities with the DNR, it's 86 acres, you said the county owns.
Mhm. There's plenty of places to play.
Yeah,
And there's plenty of opportunities for them to play in leagues within a short distance, here in Lawrence.
Is that an agreement, or do we need to put that up for a vote? Or you just want to have a mutual agreement in reference to this? Do you want to vote on it?
mutual agreement, I don't know.
Mutual agreements.
Okay, all right. Okay, and the next one is Waterloo, and as far as I understand about Waterloo, right now, all they are requesting is that you cut the grass for them.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know they'll be getting some stuff later on, and we can ask them to, since the penny sale tax is gonna be giving them something to operate on, they need to probably put that in their budget, so
Yes,
they can
ma'am.
start trying to get some money to keep it up. Cause
That's
it does, when you get something, you do have to keep it up.
That's right.
But is it in an agreement here that we, just cut the grass for the Waterloo, park?
And that would not require an additional employee. right? That's
That,
just on the
but
way.
that by itself would not include an additional.
I would suggest, Madam Chairperson, that there be a written interlocal government agreement as to what the scope of work that Mr. Howard's department would have to engage in with Waterloo and a cost factor to go with it.
Along with the cost factor. Do you all want to vote on that, or y'all, is it a mutual agreement that, we would just, cut the grass for Waterloo and that we enter into a written agreement with them along the cost factor, and also, try to impress on them that since they were getting some other funds with the 1 cent sale tax, that they put, some money into their budget to help keep them. All right. And so now, we had heard, did we get anything from Great Court?
No, ma'am, we haven't received anything formal from Great Court.
Okay, yeah, and, yeah, great. All right, so I don't think it's those are the only two that I remember, with those two that that came up in our meeting. Is there anything else you all know we should discuss? So I'm gonna put both of them in as a mutual agreement that we've done with these two townships within the county, in that Waterloo, we will do a written agreement, and the cost factor, with cutting the grass for that part, and we will not do anything with Hickory Tavern due to the fact that it's a 501(c) and that we use the public funds on private property. And, Luke is gonna talk with them in reference to some options that they can do along with, ZF and some other entities out there.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss? Anything else you want to discuss?
Thank you.
Okay. If there's not anything else, we'll be adjourned. And, we thank you, Amy, for your information. Y'all, if you want to see this, one of the letters that they had, and we thank you for the information, and we thank you all for coming a little early, so we can get this done today, so we can present it to the council this evening. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Adjourned.